I don't know about anyone else, but I cannot get over how simply clueless a lot of these protesters are. I mean, I'm sure some of them have some good talking points to make. There's obviously stuff you could say about any presidential administration that would be reasonable to criticize, but for some reason, the modern leftists, like I think what it is that they just have nothing to do with their lives, and they want to get out and go just be part of something. They want to feel like they have some meaning, and really, I think about that a lot. Like the old world, you had meaning. Meaning was surviving. Like you built things. People built villages. They built bridges, and you don't really build things anymore. You just get money to survive. Really, on the one side, you do have some joy. You use your money for joy, for luxuries that the old world didn't have. But at the same time, we don't build towards anything. And I think that's why a lot of these people are out here. I think it's why a lot of them are old or young and not anywhere in between. The ones in between, they're working to try and survive, really. We take a look at these signs. We see decompose the rich, tax billionaires, which is just saying to annihilate, to kill all the rich people. 35% rule. It resists. You resist, and you can't silence us all. Just basically saying to fight against the government. Prince would be proud of us. I don't know if they mean like the artist Prince there or what. I'm not sure. Ice can choke on my. I can't see the whole thing there. I'm just gonna assume what that means, but it's a bit embarrassing, these No Kings rallies. I mean, look at this. It's all just a bunch of old white people and a lot of women. Normally at these kinds of things, you don't see a lot of women, but when it's a Democratic thing, given that they're the party of females, there are more females, and so they went for the bigger party. And also, you can promise females abortions, which you can't do for males, so it's easier to get their votes. And that was their plan. And here you can see there's just so many women, so many white people, so many old people, and a lot of very young as well.
We will never forget what they did here. And I have a message to our immigrant community here in Minnesota. You are seen, heard, valued, and loved. You add value to our state. You are part of the fabric of what is good about Minnesota. And I have to tell you, that is a hell of a lot more than I'll say about anybody in the White House.
I'd say it's treason then, but Tim Walz has he's made it very clear that he's anti-America. He said that plenty of times. I mean, this is obviously it's at Minnesota, and it's you know what to expect here after everything that happened. But I mean, how deranged are you to go up and say things like this? Like immigrants are better than the natives. Immigrants are part of us. Immigrants are good. There's no kind of deciding factor on that. Simply being an immigrant makes you good in the eyes of a Democrat. There's absolutely no way to define why they're good. They simply are. Just the fact that they're an immigrant, I guess. That's it. That's the one qualifier. Well, moving on to some random people. This is from MS Now, which is a deeply, kind of comically left-wing service.
If you could send one message to the president, what would it be?
Quit.
Wow. Galaxy Brain. So that's all you have to say? Just quit. They didn't say one word. They said one message. That's all you have to say is quit. I mean, if someone told you to just quit, would you do it? No. Okay, so you've just done something that you yourself wouldn't listen to, which means you've done something pointless.
What's the main purpose of you guys being here today?
Just outrage of what's happening in this country.
Just outrage of what's happening in this country. Like what? You mean kids no longer being allowed puberty blockers? Kids no longer being allowed gender reassignment surgery? Kids no longer being taught to be gay in school at the very least? Is that what you mean? Do you mean the borders being protected? Is that what you mean? What things are happening in this country that are outraging you exactly? You don't even have words for what you're saying. You're just saying, "Oh, I'm so outraged at things. I'm mad about the new thing that I'm supposed to be mad about because that's what all of the other women are mad about." God.
I've been a MAGA supporter from the very beginning. I believed in him. I thought that he would end wars, like he said in his campaign. He said he wouldn't start wars. He said he'd bring peace to the Middle East. Now look it up.
Bring peace to the Middle East without wars. How deranged are you to think that's even possible? These people have been over there in blood feuds, massacring each other since time immemorial, before documented history, before writing even. And you think that Don's gonna go over there and say, "Hey, everybody, it's the Big Don. Hey, come on, guys." And they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, it's the Big Don, man. What? The Big Don's here over here in the Middle East. What?" And then that's gonna be it. Peace for 1,000 years in the Middle East. Are you out of your mind? There's no way he could bring peace there without a war, which is something that he's said that he wanted to do for a long time. So I feel like anyone who voted for him without realizing that either didn't pay attention to anything or is a total moron and really gullible.
I spent 30 years serving a country that I don't even recognize anymore.
Oh man, there is so much to say about this. Yeah, when this woman was a child, other women wore clothing. Little girls wore clothing. Being a OF star wasn't the dream of children. Do you think that she recognizes the country anymore based off of that alone? When she was a child, the vast majority of people in the country were white. There was tens of millions of immigrants added to this country from when she was a child to now. You don't recognize the country anymore, lady? Really? You gonna go out there and criticize all of those immigrants who changed the country? You gonna go out there and criticize all the girls who stopped wearing clothing? I mean, what are you saying exactly? Just that you don't recognize the country anymore?
I grew up in Louisiana in the segregated South, and I see that we're going back there.
That's right. Protecting your borders means we are going back to a slavery state, which is hateful of anyone who isn't white.
I used to have to ride the back of the bus, and I went to a segregated school. So I don't want to see that for my kids and my grandkids.
Note that she's exclusively talking from a selfish personal point of view. This isn't altruism. She's saying that she wants her kids and grandkids to live in a society where no one is racist towards them or oppressive of them. Okay, so you're saying that you want to keep out Sharia law? You want to stop all the gangs and the drugs and all of that? Is that what you want? Like, you want to make a better life for your kids and grandkids, but you also want to open borders. Okay. I mean, sure. Yeah, just make the boogeyman white people, I guess.
It is time for New Yorkers from every walk of life, for Americans from coast to coast to come together and defend our democracy, because even our founding fathers understood that our democracy is fragile. And it is only as powerful and it is only as strong as the people who come together to defend it.
And this guy, despite looking like some sort of vampire, he said nothing. Like, he said absolutely nothing there. And also, do you think the left constantly attacks the founding fathers because a lot of them were slavers, or at least they had slaves. So how can you sit here and talk about the founding fathers? Like, he's clearly never been in a conversation with a group of leftists or like even like listen to them talk. Like, I don't know what circles this guy travels in. I mean, gay vampire circle, I guess. But the left purity tests the founding fathers all the time. I mean, what is he saying? All the good people need to come together from the West Coast to the East Coast. All the good people need to come together, and we need to fight for democracy and positive feelings and happy thoughts and good vibes. He said nothing, really.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was going to make a change.
Okay, so she's an idiot right there. She's also wearing a Princess Leia shirt, a woman's something, I don't know, it's not shown. It probably says power, because professional victims are obsessed with the concept of power, as are leftists, although I guess leftists are professional victims these days.
Make a difference. Our voice is being heard. That's part of our right as an American, and I'm not just going to stand by and let these atrocities happen.
What atrocities? Again, what atrocities? You mean stopping children from being taught to be gay or trans in school? You mean stopping the school districts from hiding their chosen gender from their own parents? You mean stopping them from getting puberty blockers and gender reassignment surgery? Stopping the illegal immigrants from living in the country forever? You mean stopping anchor babies, where people come over like parasites to crap out a baby, and then that baby is stuck with us forever? And I mean, like, what exactly do you mean the atrocities exactly? Can you define that? Or are you, like all of these other people, incapable of saying anything other than, so, you know, I'm just outraged at these bad things that happen, and we need to get together and defend democracy because feelings. Well, speaking of feelings, here's a Britain It's a march against the far right. They can't say no kings because they have a king. I would point out this sign to begin with. No Islamophobia, no anti-Semitism. Mind you, the left wing want to destroy Israel, and they proudly say so. And the right wing are allied with Israel currently because they voted for Trump, and Trump's fighting with Israel and all that. Not against, but like with. So I don't really know how the left justifies their mentality of calling right-wingers Nazis and also calling them anti-Semitic, while the right wing allies with Israel and the left wing tries to destroy Israel. I don't know how the hell you're supposed to justify that, but take note of this sign, stand up to racism. Is xenophobia and racism being conflated here? Muslims and Jews, they're not necessarily about skin color, so why do they say stand up to racism? It's almost like they have no idea what they're saying, which again ties into the fact that they're saying no anti-Semitism to the people that they're also accusing of being Nazis, who are siding with Israel, whilst these people want to destroy Israel. Gay.
I personally am a bit concerned about the rise in the hate and the far right and the rhetoric.
These are the most sheltered people you could even imagine. These old white people who've lived in the luxury of nuclear weapons existing, the buffer of peace that nukes gave to the world. They have never had to deal with any kind of real strife. This is the first thing that they ever think is dramatic in their world, that they're kind of like getting up and I have to go out and spread love and peace because this isn't normal. But this is normal, actually, for the state of the world outside of your lifespan in the countries that you've lived in, protected by powerful weapons. This actually is normal.
Always somebody to blame.
Yeah, it's always someone to blame.
Refugees, the poor,
the white people, the males, the Christians, the fascists, the Nazis, the misogynists. There's always someone to blame, right? I mean, the left wing knows a thing or two about that.
Some benefits, people that are less than in some way. So
yeah, well, you're less mentally capable than most people in some way, it would seem. You just say that there's no one to blame? Is that what you're saying? There's no one to blame for anything. No one's guilty of anything, ever. Isn't that funny?
So really it's about standing up and saying, not in our name.
It's about standing up and saying not in our name, whatever that means. Oh, and here's the pro-Iran.
We stand here for love and hope and unity, and who can't get behind that banner?
Which is exactly why the left wing always says it. The most vapid, empty nothingness you've ever heard in your life. Peace and love. They sound like literal children. You don't change the world with empty messaging like that. No one's going to stand up and fight for some nothing like love. I mean, this isn't a Disney movie. It's real life.
Who's going to say that that's not what we want in our world and in our society? You know, we've got to stand up for it, and that means love for everybody.
Love for everybody. There it is, right from him. I mean, is there anything behind those eyes? What a vacuous face. Love for everybody. He's protecting all of the people who want to come over and destroy him, his family, take his land, rape and pillage England. You've got to love everybody. Look at the pretentiousness of this shawl that he's wearing. Just doesn't matter who they are. Just the fact that they exist. Every single person in every single country. Unbelievable.
Not just the people who are here today, but everybody who's not here today, including the people who might even stand against us.
And that right there is what I was saying before. These people don't understand a world that is not some peaceful, globalistic, we're protected by nukes, we're protected by NATO, we're protected by America. They don't understand that. They have lived their whole lives not having to deal with anything serious, and they're too stupid to try, because, I mean, I've never had to deal with anything serious. I've never been in a war. I mean, I've been alive through Afghanistan and the Iraq War and all of that, which are apparently a forever war that's never ended and is still going today, allegedly. But I've never really lived in a war. I've never lived through any kind of serious strife. But I can stop and think, I could stop and think about what would happen, what it would be like. What would it be like to not be able to go to the grocery store and get food or water? And what happens when you turn the faucet and nothing comes out? What happens when you can't flush the toilet, when you don't have toilet paper? Like, I can sit here and think, what happens? What do you do? These people don't even grasp that. They just think the world is one big, happy, peaceful party. Everyone's just one family, and there's just some bad bastards ruining it for everybody, and they've got to go stomp them out. But what they're really doing, is trying to destroy the last bastion of defense that they have, because these people are ineffectual at doing anything. They can't defend themselves. They literally cannot do it. So if they get rid of the people who are trying to stand in between colonization and their peace, then that's it. They'll be colonized. The end. And yes, here's the anti-Israel protests from the people who call the right wing anti-Semitic and Nazis. And again, there's some people from like Middle East or whatever. Obviously I can't tell where they're from exactly, but like this woman here's in a hijab. There's some people, but most of them are either women or olds. There's a few young males, but it's just shocking how tone deaf these people are. So this is from No Cap on God, talking to people to see what their actual responses are. But before I start it, pay attention to this moron sign. Yeah, that's not how you spell fascist. Good God, he's part of the 54%.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the straights of homos and not the gays of homos?
Yes, I agree. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Why do you think they're willing to leave the gays of homos behind?
I think it's just historically, gays have always been very discriminated against, which is wrong on so many levels.
Even in war.
Yeah, even in war. And it just takes, I think, more... more reform in government, obviously, and then also educating society.
I just feel like if we're going to go in there, we can't leave the gay people behind.
Right,
I don't think we should go in there at all, but if we're going to, the gays of Hormuz, we could turn it into Fire Island.
For sure.
Yeah. So
this guy's, he's gone out to this weird, as you can see, the flags and this fake Russian paper and overthrow the Epstein class and all of that. It's ridiculous communist thing that they've got going on here. He's gone out and he's trolled a bunch of people by interviewing them, and they give their ridiculous responses. I'm not going to play any more of them, but again, it's No Cap on God if you want to watch it. Very funny. So I'm just going to cap this all off with Trump's king statements, because for some reason, people take what Trump says literally. He makes one passing comment about him being a king, and everyone loses their shit. Like, Titanic's one of the most popular movies ever, like one of the most money-making, highest-grossing movies ever, and women love that. But as soon as Trump makes some off-the-cuff comment about him being a king, oh, no. They'll definitely screw Leonardo DiCaprio when he's like 17 or however old. But Trump making a joke about being king, and people have lost it. They go on, how long have they been doing No Kings now? Around a year? And these massive tirades, like giant tantrums they're throwing in the streets, waving around communist flags, singing communist chants. And what's the truth of it? Well, this is a channel called The Ring of Fire, at The Ring of Fire, which says Trump calls himself a king, like Jesus.
Of 2,000 years ago that forever changed the world. On Palm Sunday, Jesus entered Jerusalem as crowds welcomed him with praise, honoring him as king. They call me king now, do you believe it? No king. I'm such a king, I can't get a ballroom approved. During each day of...
And here's their channel. Seems like someone might have Trump derangement syndrome. Just a little bit of Trump derangement syndrome, though. Not a lot, just a little bit. By the way, let's see. These are all from, starting from right here at the bottom of the screen. These are all from 1 month ago. All of that in 1 month. I think you might need an inoculation, my dude. So here's another one of the same thing. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention. At the top of here, it says, The Ring of Fire, hosted by Josh G., delivers clear, fact-driven coverage. And this short was titled, Trump calls himself a king like Jesus, which isn't at all what happened. Anyway, here's another one.
Donald Trump says that on Palm Sunday, Jesus entered Jerusalem, and he goes, that's interesting because they call me the king now. But how am I the king if I can't even build a ballroom? And all the sycophants in the White House start like laughing. Here, play this.
Right. So it's the same clip. It's the same clip. But can you not understand that he's not actually a king? He himself is making sarcastic jokes about how he's not a king. Like, they all say I'm a king. I'm not a king. Look, I'm obviously not a king. How is this going over these people's heads? Like, why is it that they think they're clever for repeatedly calling him a king? He made one comment and you've lost your goddamn minds. I don't understand. I don't understand why they've got some weird old-timey filter over this. And I don't understand. Look, dude, you want some positive affirmations in your life? Here's what you do. Shave off your head, post it on r/bald. There you go. Anyway, moving on.
Several No Kings protests planned across the country on Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What do they call No Kings?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. A king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking to him. He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off. And after years, we get it done. No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all.
And this is from months ago. This isn't the Easter message. Like, this isn't like a new thing. He's repeatedly said that he's not a king. He's repeatedly pointed it out. The Democrats don't want to hear it. They block their ears. They refuse to listen.
No, I have a lot of powers to do things, and we use the powers where appropriate. Sometimes you don't have to use those powers. You know, they're a little severe, and then people accuse me of being a king.
Yeah, exactly. You do anything, and people who hate you will accuse you of something now. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. If I say right now that I am against children being taught to be gay and trans in school, I'm against them being given puberty blockers, I'm against them being given surgeries, I'm against trans athletes. If I say those things, people will accuse me of being identical to a 1930s German soldier. They don't care anymore. People will just accuse you of anything. Well, here's the entirety of this, and then I'm going to end it.
On each day of Holy Week, Christians remember the events of 2,000 years ago that forever changed the world. On Palm Sunday, Jesus entered Jerusalem as crowds welcomed him with praise, honoring him as king. They call me king now. Do you believe it? No king. I'm such a king, I can't get a ballroom approved. Pretty amazing, right? I'm a king. If I was a king, we'd be doing a lot more. I'm doing a lot, but I could be doing a lot more if I was a king.
No kings. Never has been a king. The left wing is lying, as they always do. They're making up a fake narrative, as they always do, in order to get what they want to make their own lives better at the expense of others, while saying peace and happiness and love. And for the older people and some of the naive younger people, I do believe that's what they want. But a lot of people, a lot of them are just rats. They're just rats trying to get what they want. The people walking around half naked, the people who are doing deranged things in public, the people who are trying to twist LGBTQ into something else or twist wokeness into something else. They're not there for positivity. They're there to make it into what they want it to be. And as long as these people, as long as they refuse to see the truth, they will forever be blinded by their own stupidity out here with their misspelled signs and their ridiculous narratives and their upside down flags. The Democrats, at this point, they seem helpless. I almost feel bad for them, especially these people here, because they're having to listen to Tim Walz. Anyway, that's enough out of me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, if you agree, please do the YouTube things.